That is absolutely exquisite.
Chinese merchants know how to turn a profit.
Please tell us if there's a problem. Please tell us if there's a problem.
Success. Start. Success.
You'll regret it if you don't take me along.
There's nothing for me here. I'm getting...
That is absolutely exquisite.
Vernice merchants know how to turn.
Hello, adventurer.
Though it's by expansion. Really, it's not reset by patch. Okay, let's see about that. What about whenever Azerite Power, you had to refarm the same traits that you already had when Battle of Dazara Lore came out, and then Blizzard found out that World First Raiders could poop socket and complete it earlier, so they doubled the amount of artifact power you needed, so you had to keep playing the game even more. What about Shards of Domination? How about that? Where are Shards of Domination going to be in 9.2? Huh? Oh, that's right. Nowhere. Because I'm right.
How could they insult those poor
Huh? Yeah, about that. Also, another one is flying. So we get flying in WoD. Flying in WoD. This was flying in Legion. This was flying in BFA. And this was flying in Shadowlands. And actually, this is really what flying in Shadowlands is. This is flying in 9.2. Ooh, it's a little hat.
Hey,
Oh, it's a little hat. Look at the
adventurous
little
camp.
hat,
Some of my
dude.
allies are still in the Highland.
Isn't that
Please
special?
help.
Yeah, so that's the way it's happened. And so you have to refarm the same thing over and over and over and over and over. And so that's why I think people are much more frustrated with something like WoW. And that's why they're more okay with what's going on with Lost Ark. That's why the systems are more well received. I feel like this makes complete sense. Amazon is already nerfing Guardian raids and Big Rage. Thoughts from Russian Vet. Okay, so let's look at this. Let's look at this video and see what he's
merchants
got
were
to say.
raided.
Okay.
Hey guys,
Got
what's
it.
up? My name is Fox and welcome
say
to
we
Rainy
split up and look
This
for them.
because he knows that I was going to react to his video, so he just preemptively put his camera over on the other side. Yeah, thank you. I really appreciate this. It really makes things easier for me. So yeah, this is a video about the Lost Ark nerfs.
another video. 1 hour ago we got information that Amazon is planning on nerfing multiple Guardian raids and also Abyssal dungeons.
Yep.
Which is very interesting to me because I don't know what is
If he doesn't read the post that that Rox made about it, I will read it afterwards just so I can see what's going on myself.
coming from. According to the forum post, which I will link obviously below in the description,
oh, here we go.
It is according to feedback around specific raids and dungeons that have left players feeling like they are more tedious than fun. That is very interesting because most of the fights listed here have certain type of mechanics that require you to execute it in order to do things. Now, my personal opinion on these nerfs is that some of them are okay, but most of them are not. Because the reason
I feel the same way. I think that some of the nerfs, like basically, for an example, is it a Chades that puts the debuff on a player whenever they're soloing the Guardian? He puts a debuff on the player that if other players just like remove the debuff, yeah, he's the one. So that's obviously bad design. And it's not even really bad design, but like it is a problem. If you give players the option to solo it, they will solo it. And if you put the option in there, I think that it should be to some degree tuned around soloing it, or at least whenever you are going in there with one player, because obviously like the boss's health does not dynamically change. It's not like it goes up and down if a player like randomly leaves the party or somebody comes in. Whenever it goes in, whenever you go into the raid, that health is set. So that means that they can have a different type of mechanic that would occur or would not occur based off of if there's if it's a solo encounter or if it's a group encounter, right? Because it's not a it depends on how many people are there. So like a mechanic like that sucks. Obviously, I was able to beat the boss, right? I one-shot this guy. Now, why did I one-shot this guy while soloing him? Number one, because I'm a berserker. Number two, because I had good gear. Number three, because I'm not absolutely fucking terrible at the game. And number four, it came right down to the fucking wire, and I literally was half a second away from dying by spamming the potion. So it was really hard. And the first three, keep in mind, these are not, like, yes, obviously I played relatively well. But, I mean, if I went back and I did it again today, I would play much better. Because I'm just better at it. It's the same with the Inverters.
More
right? I played it much better.
keep coming.
Sorry, I don't mean to pause and go off on a tangent, but I agree with him fundamentally that some of the nerfs are good and some of them are not.
Then why these fights feel tedious to most people is because they're simply not doing the mechanics properly.
I don't think that's the case. Didn't they buff the amount of health that Guardians have? Didn't they buff the amount of health that Guardians have in the American version? They did by 50%. Yeah, so like it's a rumor. Before launch, all regions by 50%. I think it's both HP and NA not being able to do mechanics. No, they didn't. Saint one was joking. Okay, I guess it's kind of hard to say. Saint made it up. Yeah, I have no idea. Okay, I thought it was something that was just definitive. I didn't know it was like hearsay.
The fights like Virtus, Nakazena, Titan, all of them, besides Alba Hustle, well, even Alba Hustle, all of the fights have mechanics to them. You might not have even noticed them.
Turnock was my aid.
Stagger checks, they have destruction checks. They have, you know, for example, in Alba Hustle,
100 years ago,
orbs that spawn.
my knights
shot is you need to kill
fought
the wings, and
Necromancer
then you have to do
Sigmund
the mini game.
on this very island.
Lots of really like hidden mechanics. For Flame Fox, it's the flame buff that you can get, the stagger check.
Why don't we
and the
look
problem
around?
that I see, I have been pugging a massive amount on my characters because matchmaking on EU is so bad that using Party Finder is pretty much impossible. So I just
is this because like the servers are fucked up and shit? Like that's kind of what it was before. I'm just not really sure entirely. Yeah, dude, that really sucks. Like, if that was going on with me, I would be so fucking angry. I would be so fucking frustrated. So, yeah, I mean, I guess that does really suck. I do matchmaking sometimes, too. I never even try to go into Party Finder or anything like that. I just do it for fun. That's about all there is for me.
A lot of that. And I've seen people not do any mechanics. They run away from stagger checks. They don't use battle items. I have yet to
I think the reason why they run away from stagger checks is because, like, for example, for some of the I think that which boss is like this. It's the Frozen Helgia. I think that's what it is. Whenever Frozen Helgia goes into the charge phase, they run away from the stagger check because they think that they think that they can't stagger it. There's nothing that indicates that it's a stagger check. All they'd see is they see a boss charging a big AoE, and so they run away. I mean, how can you blame a new player for thinking? Because there's also other mechanics that work the exact same way, that the boss charges a big AoE, and then the player runs away. So the player, if anything, has been trained to run away. There's a stagger bar? No, there's not. Look. I did the fight the other day.
Past the waterfall
where is
at
it?
the bottom of the cliff.
There's no stagger bar.
Waiting.
You see? Where's the stagger bar? It's not there because there's not one. It's hidden. Then how are they supposed to know? Then how are they supposed to know how are they supposed to know? Like there's no indicator that there's a stagger bar. So of course people are gonna run away. Because also, Frost Helgia does another attack, the wind attack, that you do have to run away from. So, like, why would players assume that it's not the same thing? An average person, any reasonable person, would think this. That's clearly a badly designed fight. That's all there is to it. It is a badly designed fight. And this was my problem with the Guardian raids fundamentally, is that part of the difficulty in Guardian raids is a lack of information. You don't know how much health the boss has. You don't know what its overall stagger bar is. You don't know where it is. Like, for example, I think running around and finding the Guardian and using flares is fucking stupid. I do. I think it's fucking stupid. It's like a 1 minute almost differential. It adds nothing to the fight. All you have is like an ability. It's basically like the game gives you a problem and then it gives you a solution to solve the problem. If this was not in the game and the other one was not in the game would be the exact same. It's hide and seek. It's fucking stupid. Let's watch the rest of it. Sorry. I've got a lot to say about this.
People countering our rates in low tier rates. None of this is happening in tier 3. I don't see this happening in tier 1 and tier 2, right? And people are simply not putting in effort into learning the fights. They want to steamroll the content, they want to just do it, get their daily stuff done, but no one wants to learn it. On top of that, people are copying from what I've seen from builds. Some people want no engraving, some people want grudge 1 because they think it's good, some people run...
Well, and that's their fault, right? Because it literally says on there that you do 4% more damage and you take 20% more damage. Like, I mean, anybody who's trying to do that, they are, it's a bad idea to do that. It's a really bad idea to do that.
Horrible engravings, no one is optimizing characters properly. I optimize my characters without even spending money optimizing them, just by knowing what is good to hold on to, what stone is useful and whatnot, because they don't inform themselves. They just want to rush through content. And it seems to me like a vocal minority is really going all out trying to get these rates
energy in the
now,
air
I personally I don't care that much because it's all
the necromantic energy in the air
content.
feels weaker.
So people will do it a few times
commander
and then
headed
move on
to the
tier 3
Tomb
and
of
never look at
Swords?
them again unless we are doing the
hurry.
6th version of them down the road at some point.
I think that a lot of people are not really going to get to tier 3. Like, and this is like one thing that I feel like a lot of people don't realize is that, like, while it might take somebody like me or you or whatever to get to tier 3, it might take them like a couple of weeks. It will take a lot of people. There are, I would say, if you looked at the amount of people in, like, and this is just like my guess, right? This is tier 1. This is tier 2.
I defeated any necromancers I found on the
There
highland.
are a lot more people that are in tier 1. And in a year from now, maybe this will be slightly different. But obviously, most people are going to be in tier 1. That's only 3% of the population ever hit tier 2. Yeah, it's super uncommon. Like, I think it's a very, like, I don't think that's true.
But these raids are not important to me. Now, what I'm afraid of is that this type of adjusting and nerfing will carry over to Legion raids. And that is something I am scared of, because if this happens so fast, we are barely 3 weeks into the game. And after 3 weeks, Amazon is already deciding to nerf raids because there's a small amount of the player base that is unhappy with the current state of the raids. How is it going to evolve in the future, and is this going to affect Legion rates is what scares me, because I don't want to see nerfed Legion rates. I don't want to live with the idea that my Legion rates on AU servers or NA servers are easier than what
I agree with that, and so, like, and that does make sense, I mean, for sure, but, like, what I am completely fine, not completely fine, but I think that there is some tuning that could be done to the Guardian raids to make them better. I do not think they need to retune the Abyss dungeons, because the Abyss dungeons drop the best gear in the game. They straight up, they drop the best gear in the game for anybody in tier 1 or tier 2. The Abyss dungeons are fucking fine. If you are having problems with the mechanics, like, I could probably think of maybe 2 mechanics that are like, yeah, this one's pretty intense. Like, for example, the Necromancer one with, like, the balls and, like, your screen goes gray or red or whatever. Like, does this tell you what to do? It does, but I don't think people, like, I didn't put the pieces together. I think many other people didn't either. And so that obviously happened. You're not supposed to stay in tier 1 or tier 2? What do you mean you're not supposed to stay in tier 1 or tier 2? I mean, of course that's what a lot of people are going to do. I mean, I think it would be naive to say otherwise. But you have to learn? Yeah, no. Here's how I look at it, right? And I look at it like this. I think to myself, how can the mechanics teach the player the game by just existing? How can the mechanics, just by the sake of them existing, teach the player what to do? And that's what I think the goal should be.
It feels horrible. Like, the Guardian doesn't really matter that much. It's just Guardian Tier 1 and Tier 2. This is why I'm personally feeling about this, because I think most of these Guardians are absolutely fine, especially Alba Husky is already a massive control. I think Alba Husky have been nerfed to the ground already for hours.
I think that the Scorpion is totally fine as well. But I think as a Berserker, it's easier for me. Like, I think that Scorpion's fine. The Flame Fox is almost fine. I would say, if I had to say for sure, I think the Flame Fox is fine. Titalos, which one was he? Oh, I don't like Titalos. I think Titalos sucks. Achades, I think they just need to change that debuff. Yeah, and that's it. Titalos is terrible. I think Titalos is just a fundamentally badly designed fight. Like, straight up. It is just a badly designed fight. Because, ask yourself the question, if the balls that come out of the sandstorms were bright pink, how much easier would the fight be? And everybody knows it would be a million times easier. The fact that that is true means that the difficulty is being able to see what's even fucking happening. And in my opinion,
very good.
Being able to see what the fuck is going on, that is not fun. Like, I don't feel like, oh wow, I messed up on a mechanic because the brown ball blended in with the brown ground. That sucks. And I feel that way about the entire darkness mechanic, but most of the parts of it are not really that hard anyway. Visual noise is not good. Yeah, it's just like, yeah, PoE has this problem. Yeah, PoE is horrible with this.
And now it's even easier. But like I said, it's just Tier 1 and Tier 2 content, so it doesn't matter that much in the long haul, because it is mostly where people learn the game, where people get going into
I couldn't
Tier
resist.
3. But I'm more afraid of what's happening in the future, and if it will affect
energy.
better hurry. As well.
Come with me.
But yeah, I want to hear what you guys think about this. Do you guys think these nerfs are needed? Do you guys think there were some hard raids? Have you guys actually put effort into learning mechanics of certain raids? Have you checked guides? Have you checked what battle items do? Because I feel like a lot of people are not doing that. Probably not those watching this video, because you're probably informing yourself, but people outside of using YouTube, not using Twitch, you know, people that aren't informed, because usually people that aren't informed are also people that,
to me,
don't really inform themselves.
Everything's as vivid as it was just yesterday.
It's very simple.
The soldier
it's the same reason why the Cataclysm raids got nerfed back in Cataclysm. It's because most people do matchmaking,
even in
and
such a hopeless situation,
are hit or miss.
Trusted me.
Sometimes you have a great matchmaking group. Sometimes you have a not so great matchmaking group.
After death.
So, what happened in the Cataclysm Heroics is that the Cataclysm Heroics were not that hard. They really were not. They were not hard at all. But whenever you take a group of 5 people and nobody is coordinated and they just go into the fight willy-nilly and they die because they have no fucking idea what they're doing, then it becomes hard. So these fights, not these fights, but like Cataclysm Heroics, were hard with no coordination. And matchmaking means that there is no coordination. I can guarantee you, whenever you do the Scorpion in matchmaking, whenever it gets knocked down and the tail has a big blue circle around it saying, please hit me right now, and it's going to make the fight 10 times easier, people are like hitting the front of the boss. Oh, I'll get him now, I'll get him now, oh yeah, bitch! You know, that's what it is. Nobody hits it. I can guarantee you, that's what it's going to be. Absolutely. And so that's why it's such a hard fight, is because, and then also, then he grabs somebody with the fucking and he gets them, and then he gets them, and guess what they're doing? He's swinging them around, bam, 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 and the group is not even trying to stagger them. They're running away. They're like, oh my god, this is gonna hit me too. They have no idea what's going on. Why is that? It's because the game doesn't teach you what the fuck to do. It doesn't tell you. And I don't know how to make it better. I think that, like, for example, stagger checks for a boss like Frosthead, they should have a stagger check bar whenever they go into a cast. It's the same with flame blocks. They should have a stagger check bar because that's what they have in the Abyss raids for stagger checks. That's what they have in dungeons for stagger checks. And it tells people what the fuck is going on. And I will never accept the idea that not giving players information is somehow a good form of difficulty. Like, this is not a good form of difficulty to me. This is just annoying, and it sucks. I'll be right back. Give me 1 second. Just get add-ons like in WoW. Why do you want the game to tell you everything? Why can't you have some kind of difficulty in the game? If you think that telling people to stagger the boss, that's not difficulty. Like, how bad at video games do you have to be for you to think that it's some test of skill for you to look it up on Google? It's artificial roadblocks. It sucks. I can go in right now and I will show you guys all of the mechanics that are bad for all of the bosses if you want. I will go through and I will show which mechanics I think are good and which mechanics I think are bad.
Outside of the forums, you know what I mean? And that's where I want to know, what do you guys think? Because obviously my perspective as a veteran is completely different.
Yeah, you played the game a lot, right? Yeah,
than the perspective of a new player. Does a new player feel like these raids are too hard? Or is this just because you believe that people are not doing what I mentioned? Are they not doing stagger checks? Are they not doing destruction checks? Because that is what I noticed. I've done raids where I did 60% of the damage. Raids where I myself carried stagger checks, where I told people, keep attacking during the stagger checks, where I do counters. And I'm just wondering, am I just imagining this, or are these raids not too hard? And that is the question I have to...
And like another thing is like with the, like for Virtus, for example, whenever Virtus is enraged, and Virtus does his charge that you need to counter, Virtus does not turn blue, he turns purple. That too is bad design. Because you know what I think whenever he turns purple? Oh shit, this is another mechanic. Why do I think it's another mechanic? Because the visual tell that indicates to counter is not happening. The visual tell is blue, and purple is not blue. Do you see what I'm saying? Like red plus blue? Yeah, but how do you know that? Like how would a reasonable person come to the conclusion that because the two colors are interacting with each other, that he's still staggerable? No, it's not that. No, obviously everybody knows red and purple put together, right? That creates blue. Sure, I understand that. Or purple, whatever, right? I get that. What I'm saying is that doesn't necessarily mean that that's what's happening. Yeah, I mean, well, I had this problem with snapshotting and Mop, but he's blue, and you'll complain you didn't see the blue, just like Titleist brown balls. No, because the blue for the stagger is much more visually, it's much more obvious. And also there's like a graphical effect that happens too. Yeah, I mean, I don't understand, like, yeah, the game should not tell you how to kill a boss. I think that almost every single game, and you know what's gonna really upset some people? Is that Dark Souls tells you how to kill bosses. Dark Souls tells you exactly how to kill bosses in many ways. And it's, yes, Dark Souls does this. Yes, mechanics, making content and making the game designed intuitively is a good thing. It is a fundamentally good thing. Having intuitive design is different than teaching somebody how to kill the boss.
Guys, my viewers, I want to know how you guys feel about these raids, and it's really important for me that you give me how you feel about it as new players, please, because obviously as a veteran it's completely different to me. Like I said, I feel most of these raids feel already very nerfed compared to the rush. Again, let's hope that this will not carry over to later raids, because I don't want to see Argos nerfed again. I don't want to see Legion raids nerfed. Okay, Dark Fox Yoho, you can be nerfed because
I haven't done that.
I hate you. The rest, no thanks. All right.
I think his concern with the more high-tier raids getting nerfed is pretty realistic, and I think being upset about that and being worried about that is fair. I do think so. I disagree with the idea that some of the players should know the mechanics, like the stagger checks, etc. It's players don't know the mechanics because Guardian raids intentionally obscure them. The mechanics are intentionally obscured, and then you can't blame
Have you
players
seen
for
that
thinking to
person?
themselves,
A descendant
wow,
of
I
a
should move
monster
out of this
slayer
big
family, they
AoE
say.
that the boss is channeling because there's not a bar underneath him. This is what the intuitive, reasonable person would believe. Do you think it's just players not wanting to learn? No, I don't think so at all. I think that, for example, you can easily make the argument
rookie,
that if there is a
I
stagger
heard
check
you
bar,
took on the
if there is a
spirits.
stagger check bar,
How was
if
it?
if you can't
Who
figure
knew
that
our
out,
rookie would become such a
then you're
big-time
stupid.
veteran?
Then you're
So,
definitely
we're
100%
finally journeying to
stupid.
Balankar.
Like, that's your fault, not carrying one, I guess.
I have
I want to
something
go
to talk
through, I
to
want
you
to show
about.
you guys some of these fights. Let's look at the fights, because I do think this is really, really important. Yeah, the player should not have to go to a third-party source to find out how the game works. I agree with that. Let me log in right now. I'm going to go do Verdas, okay? That's the first fight that I think people get into and they get frustrated on. He has 3 or 4 different tells that do the same thing.
Will you sell it?
Or sorry, that mean different things, but they look very similar. So let's look at Verdas.
everyone's talking
about you. So this is
You've
the first boss
collected
that
all
they're
these
nerfing here.
tokens.
So
in
everybody
such a
knows
short
about Verdas. He is one of the worst ones. Under 10% of players killed Verdas. The thing is, like,
Adventurer?
and I also want to say that, in my opinion, doing this solo is like substantially harder. So Verdas, let's look and see what he does. Like, in my opinion, as I said before, mindlessly adventuring around, running around to the different areas where Verdas is, and needing flare, because you can remove that problem with flares. I feel like this adds no value to the experience.
Exotic fruits here.
It just makes it worse. All right, so first thing he does, PC does that. He does 3 of those in the last phase. That's a double swipe. And then here he's going to maybe do the tail. And then there's that. Let's see. Let's wait for the tail. There's the tail. And so the stun is 3 seconds. Very, very large stun. That, I think, that ability is totally fine. There's a large tell for it. It's fucking obvious. I hate this ability. I legitimately hate this fucking ability. I think it's such trash. The breath. And the reason why I don't like the breath is because it pulls your character in, and then his arms body block you in. Like you get caught in like this little V triangle, and you can't get away from him. Like, that just really sucks. And here's something that people might not know about the people might not know about this.
Why does it take so much?
Do you know who my dad is?
Let me go ahead. I'm gonna wait for my roll. I had to roll out of that one. There's that. So let's see. There's this. That's where now he's enraged. Okay. So he's purple. He's purple. He's not blue. He should be blue, because blue says counter. And if you're supposed to counter, he should be blue, because blue is supposed to counter. It's literally that simple to me. That's blue. That's not blue. That's purple. That is purple. Are you fucking crazy? That is obviously purple. That ability, I think, is fine too. Like, how are you... That a bit... This sucks. There's no tell for that at all. There's literally 0 tell for the grab. I think that's garbage. The grab is terrible in like a group content. In my opinion, I don't think there should be a grab in whenever you're soloing them. This mechanic is totally fine also. This mechanic is totally balanced, totally okay. That one is fine. Grab can be interrupted in group. That's why I think it's fine in a group. See, look at that. It just sucks. Like, why does the breath do that? Watch this. So you can roll. You can roll through his tail. See right there. I mean, like, holy fuck. How fast did that happen?
We will protect this place.
Because he's sucking in air? I don't care about why it's happening. If you wanted to make the game realistic, your character would die in one hit. If a monster this big in real life hit you, you would be dead in one hit. The throw is dumb? Yeah, well, the throw is not the problem. The problem is the throw in solo. I think the throw and the grab in group content is totally fucking fine. I think even the tail swipe is fine. I know some melee players might not like that, but I'll show you how you can avoid the tail swipe because a lot of melee players don't know this. Here's why I'm so adamant about this, is because I feel like whenever the game produces an unfair situation, if the player considers it an unfair situation, they won't play the game. And I think Lost Ark is one of the best games I've ever played. I love Lost Ark. Like, I genuinely do. I think it's a great game. Yeah, the freeze, and like that freeze I think is fine. And in my opinion, if you get hit by a freeze, I think that it's totally fair for him to grab you. I think that is totally fucking fair. Because you fucked up a mechanic. It's the same as whenever the, that is fucking purple. That is purple. He's purple. Or do you look at him? He's purple. He's obviously fucking purple. See that immunity? That means that I would have gotten hit by the attack, but I didn't. That's how you can iframe through it. And you can do that with any blue ability. Okay, but then you learn what purple is. What's the big deal? What the big deal is that people are not going to learn what purple is. You know what they're going to do? They're going to think, what the fuck is this? Every other game, every other thing in here, it says blue equals counter, and now he's purple. The game trains you to think blue is counter. And then it's purple. Purple isn't what you haven't been trained throughout the entire game that purple was counter. No, it never has been. Purple isn't anything. It trains you that blue is counter. The blue animation should completely take over the character model, and it should be only blue. How can anybody be disagreeing with this? It's completely inconsistent, it's visually inconsistent, and it's a tell that the game gives you that is wrong. How can anybody think this is okay? It's bad. The decline of gaming, like, I kind of want to watch this to see how many parallels he has with this versus the decline of Blizzard. Okay, here we go.
I've been playing video games ever since I was 3 years old, when my parents substituted a Game Boy Color and Pokemon Blue in place of a babysitter. As I grew up, there was so much to love about gaming. I got to play and experience countless amazing titles, and witness the industry as it grew and evolved. After playing something like Oblivion or BioShock, Halo 3, I would just kind of sit.
Those were the good fucking days, man. Fucking 2005. 2004. You had quality games with almost no microtransactions or bullshit going on. No developers trying to put their own political agendas in video games, hardly. You just had video games. And it was great. Like, I was so happy, man.
And wondered, what's next? However, in the last 9 or so years, it feels like in many ways, the quality of video games, and especially AAA titles, has declined. The industry is always creating something new, innovative, and gaming as a medium has evolved very quickly in the 35 or so years it's been around. And while there are so many great aspects to love about this hobby, just consider this a more pessimistic take on the state of gaming. So what is it that has caused this decline of growth? No, it's not these old flash cartoons that do inspire the men. It's the same thing that ruins so much in this beautiful world of ours. Insatiable greed.
Good thinking.
Implement microtransactions into Star Wars.
When did Bobby Kotick get his own media? That's crazy. This guy's all over the place, man. I can't believe it.
Battlefront 2.
Just to clarify, these are my opinions based on the facts that I've researched and observed. If I get something wrong, please feel free to let me know, which I'm sure you all will. For every negative thing that has happened at video games, you could argue an equally positive thing that has occurred.
You get that on better. Yeah, we're waiting.
Greed is the driving force of this decline. But it gets tricky, because greed, in this case, takes on several forms. No, it's not an overweight Italian man with a ridiculous mustache. It's something both subtle and straightforward. Let's not waste any more time on a pleasant intro. Let's jump straight into this. Perceiving the decline. Is it in our heads? It's challenging and overwhelming to tackle the core issues that plague the multi-billion-dollar
Cataclysm? But was there a game that made you feel that way? Yeah, there is that. That's very true. When free-to-play became the norm. That's actually a really good way to look at it. I like that a lot.
So many different companies, developers, publishers, programmers spread all over the world. Is it possible to categorize and identify this decline? All we need to do is follow the money. So let me just list some things you probably noticed and we'll elaborate on them down the line. 1. An increase in buggy, glitchy games. Big budget releases often.
I like how the example of a buggy glitchy game is immediately puzzling. Like, if you think of, like, Bubby, is it Bubby? No, Buggy, glitchy game. Like, you have, like, dog shit fucking game. And the worst part about Buggy is it was so bad it became good for how bad it was. Like, whenever you go behind a wall and you kill somebody, it was just like, it was just something special about it. It felt good.
Big budget releases often have a botched launch and are forced to rely on updates to fix their issues. Number 2, an overabundance of remakes, remasters, and sequels. The corporatization of games, conduct of major companies, publishers, and developers. And of course, number 4, an obvious influx of RNG loot boxes being forced into every genre of game.
I don't know, man. I think that the future of gaming lies actually with smaller developers. Because these larger developers with like these massive shareholder goals, I think that's really what the future is. Because they don't have to be beholden to these consumer unfriendly practices. That's at least like my take on it. I think that capitalism's gone insane. It's not capitalism gone insane. It's just people doing things for fun. And I think that whenever you have video games they are a creative pursuit. And whenever you convert that, and you convert that into something that's profit-driven, you kill the art. And instead of art, you have something that's, I don't even know what it is. Nobody.
Fart. Yeah, instead of art, you fart. What?
That's really smart. What the fuck?
What?
No, you accidentally said something really smart. It's like now you have, okay, here's, I'll go back to the video, but this is like the release cycle of video games now. So you have early access, beta, and then the game comes out. But what it really is that early access is the demo. The beta is the alpha. And then the release of the game is the actual alpha. And then you have the beta come out in the first patch. And then a year later, whenever all the problems are fixed, that's whenever the game's actually released. That's the way game releases are now.
Increasingly aggressive monetization schemes.
Yeah.
It could be that our own minds play a factor in this as well. Possibly we see the game industry as being worse because we had it so good in the past.
That's true.
Is all the disappointment we have caused simply by us growing older and more jaded? It's entirely possible the negativity we associate with modern gaming is outweighing the more positive innovations that have been made.
I think that's partially true, and I think Classic WoW is a really good evidence of that, because if you go back and you look at Classic WoW, people see all the flaws and cracks and inadequacies it has that they didn't see back then. And so I think that a component to it is actually rose-tinted goggles, but at the same time, you do, I don't know, I just feel like there were better quality games back then. And game developers now, they focus on things that people don't care about. Like, maybe I'm just speaking for myself here, but I actually don't care about having a motion capture character for God of War. Like, this is not something that adds value to me as a consumer. Like, I don't care about this. This doesn't matter. Like, all of the people in that picture, their money is being, like, the developer's money is being lit on fire and thrown in the garbage, because that product is that they just spent all that money adding value to something that doesn't have value to the individual.
May that light be
So
a
I think
beacon
this
of
is the problem
hope
too, is that
to
they're
the
developing
world.
the game with value that's not value perceived by the customer. Wrong, Andy? Really? So you guys actually care about this kind of stuff? This is a real opinion. Like, it's a real question. Like, I'm not saying like you guys are dumb. You guys care about this stuff? Oh, for me, dude, I don't care at all. Maybe I'm weird, but like I don't care about the super, like, the photorealistic graphics or any of that. I just want to play a fun game. Like, that's
to a certain degree.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, of course, to a certain degree. Like, graphics like RuneScape, for example, are too much. But for the most part, I don't really care about graphics a whole lot. Like, I just want to play a fun game. So, like, all the money they spend on making these, like, super complex cinematics, it just doesn't matter to me. It just simply doesn't matter. Like, it's a waste. It's pearls before swine. Okay? Doesn't matter.
Games look better, the story's more epic, characters are represented so realistically, animation vastly improved.
Yeah.
My point is, try not to become too overwhelmed with nostalgia for the glory days. And remember that your perception plays a huge part in this decline. What do and don't you have a problem with? That's for you to figure out. But now that we got a solid base for this topic, let's dive deep into the decline of gaming. Complacency, especially with oneself or one's merits, advantages, situation, often without awareness of some potential danger or defect, self-satisfied. Complacency is probably the biggest deterrent to innovation and quality game design. The perfect...
I agree with what he's saying in this, but I also don't agree, because I think that the complacency is not... It's like a secondary... I think that the effect is the same, but he's attributing it to something that I don't think is necessarily true. I think that the effect is not complacency, but it's people wanting to make an amount of money. That's why you have, like, now, they're redoing fucking Jurassic Park. They're redoing Spider-Man again. They're redoing all of these old movies because they know those movies will make money. And that's why you're not seeing the same amount of... Maybe I'm just, like, I'm perceiving this, right?
There's nothing
but, like,
for
to
me
me,
here.
I perceive seeing a lot of remakes. I perceive seeing a lot of movies that I've already seen before, but they're just coming out again. And I think that the reason for that is because they know they're going to be able to make and print a certain amount of money by making a new Superman movie, by printing a certain amount of money by making a new Spider-Man movie or whatever. And that's what I think kills innovation. And the complacency, I think, is just a secondary effect.
You'll regret it.
Example is Valve.
We used to make video games.
Once known for their unconventional methods of game design and their repertoire of critically acclaimed releases, so many instant classics that to this day are viewed as some of the greatest games of all time. People still play Team Fortress 2. But what about since then?
Looks like there's been a change of plans.
Well, Valve has not made a new game since Portal 2, 8 years ago. And the last time they even launched a new IP was Left 4 Dead. That was 11 years ago. But let's take a quick look at the game.
Yo, is that shit true? Alex? Oh, yo, boys, I fucking ordered that fucking VR headset, the fucking Valve, whatever the fuck it is, and they told me that's gonna be like 7 weeks to get here. The index, whatever, it was like $1,000. And I don't even, like, I thought about it the other day, because my mom's like getting packages all the time. And I'm like, where the fuck is my box, man? Like, where's my shit? I think I got, I think Gavin skamazed me, man. I don't know what the fuck happened. Remaking old movie for new generation? Ah, give me a break, dude. They're just remaking Spider-Man every 5 years. Come on, it's not for a new generation. It's just for more money.
They've launched since then. CSGO, a remake of Counter-Strike Source, which was a remake of the original Counter-Strike. Dota 2, a remake of the Dota mod for Warcraft 3. Counter-Strike Online 2, Koreans only. Counter-Strike Nexon Zombies, free-to-play zombie shooters, no thanks. Left 4 Dead Survivors, Japanese only. The Lab, a series of 8 VR minigames that was more or less just an experiment. Dota Underlords, a mobile version of Dota Auto Chess. Do I need to elaborate? This is the same company that made Half-Life 2, and yet Valve is just content with developing these unremarkable titles? You can really sum up the disappointment gamers have had with this company in the Artifact reveal. Everyone was so hyped to see what Valve was working on. It had been so many years since they came out with a new Artifact game, and when they revealed it, everyone lost all interest.
Yes. Bruh. Nobody gives a fuck about this stupid ass fucking. Like, you think you're gonna get hyped up over a virtual piece of cardboard? Like, that's what these card games are. It's literally like, I mean, you got one thing, right? It's like the audacity to expect people to get hyped up over cardboard. But then to get people hyped up over fake cardboard virtually, no. Just no. Just fucking no.
Dota 2 card game. Now the question is, why did Valve stop making actual games? What happened to their ambition? Well, as of March 2015, Valve makes $18 million per month off Dota 2 alone. Valve is also, by ratio, one of the most profitable companies for Jewish employees in America, earning roughly $300,000 per employee. They make 30% of every sale off Steam, and it's just rolling in the moolah right now. It's Chun.
I should say, fuck this. I think that guy's like, he doesn't even get it. Like, that's so weird, yeah, dude. And that's it. Like, I respect that. That's what I have, like, the Epic Store, the Steam Store, and then, like, the Asmon Store. You have to buy it. Actually, that's I like it. Submit itself, and then have people be on it for that. That's an original idea. Nobody saw it.
The gold bar. If you're making tons of money selling the same thing for 7 years and you're a businessman, why would you stop? Why would you take the risk and time to develop and sell a brand new product when you can simply maintain your current products and watch the profits dump straight into your bank account? Oh, hey, Bethesda, how's it going? Well, I didn't see you there. You still selling Skyrim? There's no question that Valve fans will pick up whatever new game they put out, provided it's the type of game people want. As a consumer, you buy Portal 3. you buy Left 4 Dead 3, you will certainly buy Half-Life 2. Long awaited, and much dead, Half-Life 2.
Even I would buy Half-Life 3. Okay, even I would buy Half-Life 3. And I know that sounds like a lot, but even that's how serious I am about it. I mean, I don't know, guys. Like, it doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense to me that this kind of stuff happens, and I don't know. It's just disappointing for me to see it. It's disappointing for me to fucking see it.
You gotta make our own games, dude. You gotta make your own company.
I don't know.
You gotta employ your own people.
I would only make games if I knew that my games had the capacity to ruin somebody's life. Because if I didn't think that I could ruin somebody's life with my game, it's not good enough to be worthy of that privilege. Like, I would want to have my game be so good that people would forsake and ruin their own lives in order to play it. Like,
Yeah,
that's how you can tell if a game is good, by the way. If a game is good, you'll see CNN and ABC news specials about the what's going to be the next game. We'll find out at 8 p.m. The game that makes people ruin their lives. Think about it. That is the biggest advertisement you can possibly have for a video game. It's so good that I ruin my life.
Is a perfect example of complacency.
I got nothing to say about that one.
Despite the critical acclaim and unrelenting hype for this title, you'd think Half-Life 3 would be at the top of Valve's priority list. But it never was.
Nope.
Instead, we're getting a VR game. And while it's cool they're finally making another Half-Life, all I can think is, what about the games that people want? See Valve and even some other companies.
I don't care about VR. I don't even want VR to be meta. Like, I would rather have, I'd wait, like, I want to wait until they have, like, kind of better programmed, or something like that, where they can actually make you literally feel it. Because I think the VR is just, you know, like, yeah, actually, like, that's what I want. And, like, full fucking early. And until that happens, like, some guy walking around in his fucking mother's living room with a stupid headset on, I'm sorry, but, like, nobody's ever gonna get into that because you just look like a dipshit. Like, you just look like an idiot. Like, have you ever seen somebody with a VR headset? You look like fucking morons. Nobody wants to do that.
Questions from Bono. You know, don't ever stop trying to be in the limelight. Keep pushing forward. Keep the end done. But Bethesda and Rockstar are another two clear-cut examples of how complacency has creeped into the video game industry. Undisputed masters of reselling the same product in as many forms possible. After Grand Theft Auto 5, Rockstar basically did nothing except update the game and put their old games to different platforms. Until 5 years later, they released Red Dead Redemption 2.
Great game.
Again, I'm not saying these are bad
I've never
games.
played it myself, but I actually do want to play it.
If you look back in the 5 years from 2001 to 2006, they were putting out hot shit like GTA 3, Vice City, Midnight Club 2, Manhunt, Red Dead Revolver, The Warriors, and Bully. Rockstar used to experiment and try new things, developing several IPs at a time and building a library of games to their name. But now they've gotten complacent. Bethesda, meanwhile, had a 5-year wait between Oblivion and Skyrim. That felt like forever, but oh my god, it was worth it. Skyrim was amazing. It flew off the shelves like crazy. All my friends were playing it, and now it's been 8 years
People
since
are going
Skyrim.
wild over
and we
Skyrim.
basically have no
People
news,
love that
gameplay, or
fucking
anything
game.
regarding Elder Scrolls 6. After New Vegas, it took Bethesda 5 years to come out with Fallout 4, a product that was very polarizing amongst the Fallout fan base, and then 76 releases.
Wasn't Fallout 76 not good?
No, that was Fallout.
What do you mean? Fallout Boy's awesome. What's wrong with you?
good. The Fall Out Boy's fucking great.
Do you see this decline? It's this complacency, this
I don't
lack
want
of
any fake
desire
news on my
to
channel.
innovate and create new things
It's a lie.
that has led to some of our favorite game companies releasing new games far more infrequently.
Yeah, there you
and
go.
when they do, it's either something you don't care about or it's just
Yeah.
another sequel. Despite nearly every single game company falling prey to complacency, almost none of this applies to Nintendo, who have stuck to their
Hey!
roots and continue to evolve and release
Hey!
new games that blow us away. Nintendo is
Who
still
would've
doing
said that?
things the old-fashioned way and making a shit ton of money, while these other game companies are doing things the easy way.
Goddamn
Because if it's
right.
broken but makes a shitload of money, why fix it? The abundance of remakes and remasters. The fact that gaming has followed certain trends throughout the years. We had arcades and paid quarters for entertainment. In the NES days, it was all about side-scrolling platforms. The
Dude, I'm so lucky that like whenever I was really young, I still got a chance to play on the old. I was playing with the old fucking arcade machines at Chuck E. Cheese. My mom would take me over there. And I was so young, I thought I was doing it on accident, and I wasn't. I did that shit on purpose, man. Fuck 'em.
NES and Sega Genesis were all about graphics.
Yep.
Eventually, we had online gaming, rhythm games, battle royale. So many trends have come and gone. Some have stayed,
I
but
want to say,
occasionally...
I'm sorry, I'll pause again. I think Fortnite was an original and great game. Like, I unironically, yeah, I think Fortnite was an original and great game. Yeah. There it is.
A certain style of game is perceived as no longer profitable or appealing to the mainstream.
Like MMOs.
Platformers, for instance.
That's like RTS. No, like RTS. Like, when's the last time we had a good RTS game? Fucking never. Oh, wow, they're gonna re-release the old Command & Conquers? Where's the new Command & Conquer? Like, what's going on with that? Like, there's like, racing games a little bit. There's no MMOs coming out anymore. Yeah, fuck, dude.
Dude, that's
StarCraft
true.
2.
And Stronghold sucks too. Like, ever since Stronghold Crusader,
Yeah.
they've all sucked dick.
I don't know. I mean, like, they re-released Age of Empires 2, which is great. Yeah, I was happy about that. I bought that for my mom. I watched her play it for a while. But it's not Age of Empires 4. Oh yeah, they are gonna bring that out. I think people are gonna play that. Like, I really think Age of Empires is gonna sell well. It's gonna make good money.
Long fallen out of favor outside of Mario. In this case, instead of developing a brand new game in a genre that's considered dead, companies will choose to remaster or remake their old ones. And would you look at that, they become hella popular.
Yeah, look
Who
at
would
that.
have thought? Spyro Reignited and Insane Trilogy were incredible remasters.
Yeah.
And since those were so successful, don't you think people would be even more happy to see a brand new game starring the Purple Dragon or lovable Bandicoot? But there's been no such announcement, aside from a remaster of Crash Team Racing.
Wow.
You can do pretty incredible things with a remake.
Amazing.
Sometimes it turns an outdated game into something completely new, effectively remaking it to be as good as you thought it was back then. Remakes are a great way for new gamers to experience the magic of the past without the daunting task of playing something that looks like this. Or it can be a method for the developers to add on to their old project.
Is that
and
Halo
give it some
3,
new bells
man?
and whistles. A remaster is capable.
Dude, man, did you ever play Halo 3?
I did, but it was never like a big thing for me. Like, I was never a big Halo player.
Dude, Halo 3, like Halo 2 for its time was much more groundbreaking than Halo 3. But Halo 3, I think, is actually like fucking the best out of the series. Like, Halo 3 was fucking amazing, man. And like, objectively, I think Halo 3 is better than Halo 2, but for its time, Halo 2 was better than Halo 3 was for its time. Like, Halo Reach, man, I still think Halo 3 is better. I do. Like, this new Age of Empires, look how much I feel like almost all of the feedback from Age of Empires has all been positive too.
Of bringing old games up to speed with several quality of life changes and making it the definitive way to experience an old title. It can be pretty awesome when they port something to a newer console so that you don't have to buy an old expensive copy of it, like Symphony of the Night and other Castlevania games being ported to Xbox. That shit's stupid. The problem arises when companies become more content to resell their old games than they are to make new ones. If become a meme. How many different versions of Skyrim Bethesda has turned out? Legendary Edition, Skyrim Special Edition, Remastered, Skyrim on Switch,
Really?
Skyrim now with mods,
Wait, holy shit.
Edition, Remastered, Skyrim on Switch, Skyrim now...
Wow. I actually like Skyrim. This is a very good game.
with mods, Skyrim for VR. In April 2019, Bethesda announced in their blog that they were moving on from Skyrim and preparing for the Sonic project. Yeah, that's a fucking laugh. Skyrim Pinball Edition.
Really?
At moments, some
Oh my
remasters
God.
just bank off your nostalgia
They just
and try
don't
to
stop.
parade their old game as something new by slapping an HD at the end of the title. All I'm saying is, there weren't a whole lot of remakes or remasters back on the N64, PlayStation,
No.
Xbox, PS2, or GameCube. And that's because they were focused on creating new games. In fact, I can only think of one remaster from those consoles, Conquer Live and Reloaded, which made the game look so freaking sexy. The visuals are still
Jesus.
impressive to this day, and they even launched a brand new multiplayer mode that was just awesome.
I remember
But
that. That was a
nowadays,
good game.
some remasters are just a shameless cash grab, where you can see a side-by-side comparison and notice no difference. But hey, at least they added some extra dirt on the glass for BioShock Remastered. Take my $40. Remember
That's
the
what they do, man.
original port of Dark Souls on Steam? Yeah, it was so fucking lazy and busted, they didn't even swap out the button prompts from the Xbox 360 version. I mean, holy shit. And then From Software comes out with Dark Souls Remastered, an actual, real port of the game. And they charge people $40 to play Dark Souls with a revitalized PvP community. And even DS Remastered didn't bother to fix several game-breaking glitches, highlighted in this wonderful Inferno Plus video. Companies will also...
Dude, I never played the original Dark Souls, so I can't really speak to that. I think it's good. I mean, I think it's good. There weren't that many games to remaster back then. Well, I mean, like, are you really trying to make an excuse for the fact that there's less creativity in development now? I feel like it's kind of... It's not really... Is this really like a fucking... a hot take here? Yeah, come on.
Take it a step further. EA turned Dungeon Keeper into a blatant pay-to-win dumpster fire mobile game.
Yeah, something like that.
Activision not only released Modern Warfare Remastered bundled with Infinite Warfare, but later added loot boxes and paid weapons into a game that didn't have those things in 2007. Some games like Sleeping Dogs, Last of Us will come out with a remaster 1 or 2 years after it released.
He doesn't even know. This is from 2019. He doesn't even know. Well.
You expect me to believe technology advanced so far in that
Do you
time
require
span
assistance?
that a 1-year-old game is now considered out of date? It's
Actually,
nice to
yeah.
improve a game's stability,
Basically,
frame rate,
that's
and
about right.
resolution. But is all that really worth buying the exact same product again? My point is a lot of companies aren't willing to take risks anymore. It's disheartening to remember a time when the original Xbox was a haven of original, awesome, exclusive titles. And now the Xbox One doesn't even seem to be competing. This trend of lazy
No, it's
remasters
not.
and remakes brings me to my next point.
What is it?
Chasing trends. Early access.
Every VR.
Hey guys, please excuse the shitty quality of this section. My video is still in early access, and you can donate to my Patreon to help fund my willingness to sit at a computer and edit. In an effort to capitalize on whatever is...
Yes, early access I think is bad, but I think pre-ordering is worse than early access. I think pre-ordering is worse. But it depends. Like, I'm okay. The problem with early access is this. Early access, that doesn't necessarily imply the game's gonna change. It just means you get there earlier. Right? You get to watch a movie like a day or two earlier before it releases. That's it. Like, yeah, it's just... I don't know, man. Like, a lot of the problem with early access games is they stay in early access. That's really the fundamental issue.
Currently most popular,
We're gonna get
plenty
the
of
data
game
now.
studios will just shamelessly rip off others or rush out some basic-ass shell of a game. Remember
Like Heroes of the
Lawbreakers?
Storm.
Man, didn't do so hot trying to copy Overwatch. So how about Boss Key Productions just copies Fortnite and PUBG and launch a shitty battle royale? That should bring in the money.
This is like
Radical
Doc's favorite
Heights,
game, dude.
Good God. Oh
Yep.
wow, this battle royale craze is really taken off. Let's release a brand new game that's completely fucked, abandon our old one, and alienate our fan base.
Yeah, it's
They're
about
calling
right.
to prove just how desperate some developers really are. Of course, it would take too much time and effort to fix PUBG before porting it to Xbox, so they just, oh my God, burn it all.
No, they don't need to burn it. It'll burn your own PC. But no, the game is PUBG. They took PUBG out of early access before it was ready, just so they could sell it for Christmas. Like, nobody can fucking convince me that's not what happened. Fuck that. Fuck that shit. Like, just selling a game whenever they knew for a fact that it was dog shit. Like, anybody that had played PUBG knew that it was a heaping, steaming pile of dick-ass cocks. But they put it out anyway.
They somehow made it worse. It's kind of shocking how a company that made all the money in King Tut's castle didn't use any of it to improve the game. Instead, they just wanted more. And then Titanfall made advanced movement popular. Well, shit, of course Call of Duty and Halo has to adapt that into their games, even if the developers don't understand what makes the movement good.
See, that's what I didn't like, man. I didn't like how they did loadouts with Halo 4, man. Like, it's not Halo in that way. I get that they were trying to do something new, and I was okay with it, but I think Halo 4 is a good example. Like, they fucking did loadouts. Like, this isn't COD. Like, this has never been in Halo. And then they had, like, these special abilities, like this right here. I don't know. It wasn't... It's like Halo 4 wasn't that bad in a lot of ways, but, like, there are so many things where they just tried to make Halo 4 into high-tech Call of Duty versus Call of Duty within space.
That compromises the design style and identity of their franchises. Just copy it. I don't care if it works. If it's unintuitive, janky, and sucks ass, just copy them. Do what they're doing. A lot of these game series used to kind of just go their own way, and I miss that. The term early access has now been hijacked by companies who are too lazy to call their games complete or admit they're never going to finish them. It used to mean you had early access to the game, and often it was like an indie title led by a small team that you understood didn't have the big budget some other games have. And
like
needed
Ashes
additional
of Creation or something.
But now all it means is the game is going to be a buggy mess, and you can't be mad at them because, hey, it's just
early
in early access.
There it is.
Even if they make billions of dollars, Bluehole and Epic will continue to call Fortnite and PUBG early access titles.
I love
We got all those shitty ass zombie survival games. My buddy brought over 7 Days to Die one time, and after playing it for 5 minutes, I was like, dude, you got fucking scammed.
Dude, I fucking... Robin forced me to play this game with her. I was so mad about this. Is like 5 years ago, right? Or like 4 years ago. His ex-girlfriend, right? I remember downloading it, and I just like, she was trying to dig a hole, and I just ran. I was trying to run into a cactus to kill my character, so I had an excuse to not have to play the game anymore. Like, I was so fucking tired of this game. Like, I hated it so much. It was the worst game ever.
We buy this shit from Jose in the back alley behind the strip club. Like, what the fuck is this? Once esports really started to take off, developers started tailoring their games to be competitive. Everyone wanted their product to break into esports territory, and that can really mess with the project's vision. When all you're worried about is chasing the most popular trends and the cash flow, you get all these half-assed games releasing. Then suddenly the desire to create something new is replaced with the desire to copy others. Games as a service, updates, online only, broken launches, etc. The ability to patch a game after it is one of the biggest revolutions in game development, allowing teams to continue their work before going gold. Bug fixes, balance updates, and more were now possible. Even when a game comes out and you buy it on launch day, it has an update because the developers are still working on it after they started shipping copies.
The first time they had this happen, I remember it was with Halo 2, and they introduced like the new map. I think what, like Sanctuary or something. And like like back then, because not everybody had online access, you could go to GameStop and buy it, the extra map packs and everything, or you could just download it on Xbox Live. And that was a long fucking time ago. Day one. Yeah, I still have the disc myself. And day one DLC.
Nowadays, you can fix, tweak, and save your ass as a developer with this luxury of cross-platform support. Overwatch is a prime example of when it's utilized well and needed several updates to become what it is today. Without them, most people would have gotten bored of it. The idea of constantly adding new content, features, and engagement and keep them coming back is good for both the gamers and the companies.
I'd say so.
However, it's when the games as a service philosophy starts enveloping every stage of design, when developers rely too much on fixing the game and adding to it afterwards.
I don't know if you guys ever think of a game like that, where like basically it gets released, and then like everybody kind of knows it's not finished, and then they hope by like maybe the first patch, maybe it'll be okay, and then you know second patch, and by the third patch things were all right, and that's when developers really kind of have a hold on the product. But also by the third patch of the product, because they're not selling the box anymore, they're not really selling the new product, and then in the new product, the new product gets released again. It's not finished. I don't know.
Yo!
What?
That sounds like wow, dude.
I don't know. I mean, like, BFA was pretty good whenever it released, right? I mean, what do you mean? Like, Azurite armor? Remember that? That was cool.
Siege gaming decline. Halo 5 Guardian straight out the gate had like a 7-month plan of content. Why didn't you work that into the 3 years of development you had? Compare Spec Ops and Modern Warfare 2 and 3, and there's no mistake. Everybody compares like those versions to the 2019 version, where it now takes Infinity Ward 1 month to get 2 missions out. 10 years ago, they launched a game with 23 of them. The difference is crystal clear in how games are developed. You look at something like Cold War 2, Halo 2, and Smash Bros. Melee. These games all had hellish development cycles that devoured the lives of the people working on them. These heroes sacrificed time with their families just to complete the game when it was supposed to be done, so that we, the consumers, got the best product possible. Despite the many bugs, glitches, and general lack of polish in these 3 highly anticipated features, they turned out phenomenal, because neither Obsidian, Bungie, or Nintendo could depend on simply fixing the game after the fact. Not having that luxury put the pressure.
Dude, I used to do those all the time, man. You ever remember to get back home with the boys were like, hey, dude, you want to do some super jumps? That was so fucking fun. I love it.
Now with the luxury of post-launch support, compare the content from Halo 2 to the latest game, Guardian, that launched Halo 5 at 4 game modes, the lowest in the series, and it took a whole year of updates to make Halo 5 a somewhat complete package. What Halo 2 accomplished...
Isn't this what happened with Halo 4 too? Where Halo 4 released without ranked mode? Didn't Halo 4 release without ranked mode or something like that? It was like something like really bad. Yeah, it's fucking ridiculous, man. Halo 4 was actually decent though. I don't know.
In 2004, Halo 5 moved into history year after it was already out in 2015. This isn't just exclusive to Halo. It happens to every game series, where the gears stop turning. Something as simple as launching a game in a playable state becomes an urban legend. A myth. Bad Company launches perfectly and works fine. Then DICE drops Battlefield 3, 4, and Battlefront 2. Which all had nightmarish issues and simply just didn't work. It gets so ridiculous to the point where you wonder if the games they put out are actually illegal because the product doesn't work as advertised. Then you got something like COD World War II.
Yeah, it's like what they said about Diablo 3, man. That's exactly it. Elon Musk is hacked. That's crazy.
Even the names didn't work. Crazy. You look at how Mass Effect 1 came out back in 2007. Pretty damn good. Mass Effect Andromeda 10 years later somehow looked worse and was a glitch-ridden disaster. Diablo 1 and 2, absolute masterpiece. Diablo 3 is coming out. People have been waiting over a decade to experience this game. It's releases, and error 37. You can't
Yeah,
play
that's
the
about
game
right.
until Blizzard figures their shit out. Then you had Dead Island, where the developers completely fucked up and released the wrong version of the game. How does that happen? SimCity was made to be always up.
You know, Bill brought the wrong CD into work, and we was all drunk, so we just put one of them out there. It turns out it's the wrong CD. So, not bad. It is what it is.
Online, except you couldn't connect to EA's shitty-ass server. Batman Arkham Knight was knowingly pushed out onto PC despite the publishing knowing it was a terrible port of horrific frame rate issues. I'm not saying every game from the glory days launched in perfect state, but these unplayable disasters happen far less frequently. At the time, I was way more forgiving of them. And then we arrive at the Master Chief Collection, which was testament to just how broken you could release a game and somehow not be investigated by the Better Business Bureau.
Exactly. Like, the thing is that we bought this, and we played it, and the frame rate for Halo 2 was so bad.
This atrocity was so unplayable, I'm surprised there was no class action lawsuit filed. The new cutscenes by Blur were jaw-dropping, but it's hardly any consolidation when nothing worked. Menus were fucked, game glitches everywhere, impossible to find games, ranking system constantly resetting. 343 took like 3 or 4 years to make MCC a consistently playable game. 3 to 4 years after I bought the game, I was finally able to play it the way they promised I could.
Halo 2 Anniversary will contain the original Halo 2 multiplayer.
What?
Exactly as it shipped 10 years ago.
What? Oh
Though this is a subjective point, take a look at these MMORPGs. World of Warcraft changed the gaming landscape as it really gave rise to the games as a service philosophy. With monthly subscriptions, new expansions, it was a nice source of cash flow, and for players that enjoyed the game, it was the greatest thing ever. WoW's been consistently supported for like 15 years, and that's great. But
Consistently supported? It's been consistent.
An important point hardly ever mentioned. Warcraft as a series has been an MMORPG longer than it has been a real-time strategy. Despite 3 games with multiple expansions, the reason Warcraft 4 does not exist is because WoW does. Similarly, the reason why Knights of the Old Republic 3 does not exist is because the Old Republic does. Elder Scrolls 6 does not exist yet because they've been working on Elder Scrolls Online. For better or worse, these incredible series of games have converted to the games as a service philosophy. They turn their backs on their roots. EA is infamous for shutting down.
I don't have a problem with that to an extent. And this is like kind of my, this is my preference, I guess, if that's religion. This is my preference. I don't really think it's a big deal with making games like online evolving world, but this is also kind of, I'm coming from like an MMO. I understand that a lot of people don't like what I like. So it's important to keep that in mind too. Maybe by a different studio. Yeah, I don't know.
Several game studios, including Visceral, who were working on a single-player Star Wars game. But because single-player games can't really be made into a service, EA saw the sector as not as profitable and shut it down. It's actually surprising when something like Jedi Fallen Order comes out with no caveats and is a genuinely great game.
Oh, yeah.
But in the 6 or so years EA has had the rights
Wasn't this like Star Wars, but Dark Souls? Like, I remember this game was really popular for a while. I saw a lot of people play it. That's actually kind of cool. I might try this out sometime. I'm not really a big Star Wars fan, but it would be cool to try. It's a
Star
good game.
Wars?
Yeah.
This is the first single-player game they've put out. Flashback to the early 2000s. Oh baby, Jedi Academy, Republic Commando, KOTOR 1 and 2, Episode 50 games, Lego Star Wars, Bounty Lair, Obi-Wan, Force Unleashed, Battlefront 1 and 2, Empire at War. Star Wars games are off the fucking hook, but EA is just complacent now. We live in a time when updates the game goes through are more impactful than the actual release. It's the ship it now, fix it later. that is
actually a really good
allowing
point.
companies to turn out so many titles that suck straight ass when they come out.
Yeah,
a video
yeah,
game
suck
should never
ass.
be a gamble where the consumer doesn't know if it's gonna function or not. Corporatization.
It's not a gamble. Because you know it won't. Yeah, it's not a gamble. Like, you buy a game like that, you just assume that it's not gonna work. Like, if you buy a game nowadays, you just bet on it not working. And if you think that it's gonna work and it works, that's great. But you should never expect that to happen. Very low
Anti-consumer. Probably the
Just
worst
always
thing
bet
about
on
the
it
decline of
sucking.
gaming is the corporatization of it. The game industry is becoming more and more controlled by some board of directors who don't see this hobby as you or I do. They aren't thinking, how can we make the
Because
best
it's
game?
not a hobby for them. They just play the game. Or they just make the money. They just run the company. They don't play games. These are like the fucking grandpas that have like their grandchildren show them how to use a smartphone. These are the people that are on the board of directors for a video game company. They can't use a fucking smartphone.
Game possible. How can we make our fans happy? They're thinking, how can we make the most money with the least amount of effort?
Yeah.
There are investors to please, deadlines to meet. Game development used to be just a bunch of nerds pooling their talents and creativity to make something incredible,
Yeah,
something
something like
they
that.
would want to play. Corporatization has been sucking the life and soul out of gaming, and this is illustrated by the complete lack of originality in the cover art of games. Check out this video by Nathan Jason, it's really good, but it showcases a greater point: the lack of soul. It'd be foolish to condemn all pre-order bonuses, microtransactions, DLC, etc., because only the Sith deals in absolutes. But
I think I can almost condemn almost all pre-orders. I think pre-orders are not good. This is I don't like it. I think it's like kind of I don't need all the pre-orders. That's the only game I ever will pre-order. If I ever pre-order another game, I'm probably just being an idiot. It's just well, basically I think that it's unethical to do that because you're effectively incentivizing someone with a unique reward for paying for a product that they don't understand because it's not out yet. You're basically like that's what it is. Like I don't know what to say. Like I'm very upset about that. But you're creating an incentive for somebody to buy a product that's not even released yet. They're just buying it on the premise that it might be good.
you're the consumer. What do you want? Do you want cool, meaningful, cosmetic
Trusting
unlockables
developers?
that showcase your
Yeah.
accomplishments? Okay, what's the ideal way for the player to unlock them? Ask yourself this question first. Is this good for the player? Is it good for the player to unlock gameplay-altering abilities or cosmetic items in monetized randomized loot boxes? Is that a form of progression and unlocks that is beneficial to the player? Of course not. So why do companies include it? Because the well-being of the consumer and the quality of the experience is secondary to what's most profitable.
So true. That is so true what he just said. 100% so true. I knew it. See that, guys? So true.
Back during the 360, PS3, and Wii generation, players noticed there was a lot more downloadable content than the previous generation. In fact, the GameCube didn't even connect to the internet.
No.
But now it seems like loot boxes are far more numerous. That's because companies realized DLC was only a one-time purchase. But what if there was a way to turn players into payers? Consistently doing that would yield high results. Then you got all those season
I
passes.
wish they made loot boxes against the law. Like they just made it where like you couldn't do them anymore. Like you couldn't have randomized loot boxes. Period. Like I don't think they add any value to the game. Like having a cash shop where you can buy things, I think is like okay. I don't like it, but it's okay. But I see no purpose in like simulated gambling. EU is doing it. Well, that's good. And I hope the US does the same thing. But the problem is like a lot of the US politicians, again, don't even know what Overwatch is. They don't know what a loot box is. They think it's probably something that has to do with pirates.
passes where companies want you to put up $50 based on a promise. As video games become more and more expensive to make, the price of a new release has stayed the same for decades. And while any business, big or small, needs to make a profit, the lengths some companies go to monetize their games is absurd. Sometimes being so greedy to the point where they will compromise the design of their game. 343 and Creative Assembly went so far in this direction, crafting a mode specifically to integrate loot boxes into Halo Wars 2 and create a pay-to-win model. Madden and FIFA Ultimate Teams.
Oh.
Wow, those are so cool. Ruined by pay-to-win loot boxes.
Yep.
Battlefield 1 and 4 offering literal shortcuts through the progression system.
That is what I really don't like. Is that like having cosmetics and stuff like that is really bad. I don't like it because cosmetics indicate progression in games. But whenever you can buy things that increase your experience, that's where I draw the line. That's where I feel like that's too much. Stop crying about free games. Well, these aren't really free games. Like, for example, like Black Desert has this, and I didn't like that at all.
Think about that for a second. The designers created the system of XP, how it is earned, how much it takes to unlock things, and then decided to monetize a way for players to skip it entirely. Bungie literally cutting and reselling parts of Destiny 1 and 2 as DLC, making shaders consumable so players will have to buy them again, was not a decision made for the benefit of the player. Forza 5 offering just as many payable cars as ones you earn in-game. The list of DLC for The Sims alone is fucking staggering. Middle-earth Shadow of War, a single-player game, chose the loot box method of delivering...
Imagine, how do you think Tolkien would fucking feel if he knew that his monsters were popping up in a fucking loot box, man? I guarantee you he would be pissed. He'd be fucking furious about that shit. Like, I don't care what the option is or anything. I hate these loot boxes. I think they're stupid. And I was more okay. I have gotten less okay with them over the years. Before I was like, eh. And now I'm like, nah. Yeah, exactly.
Rewards to players. Dead Space 3 interrupting the game to ask you to buy more parts. Train Simulator 2015 offering over $4,000 of DLC.
Dude.
Purchasable weapons in Black Ops 4 giving people an advantage. Microsoft charging you to remove ads on Solitaire. Fucking microtransactions in Solitaire. Then for some games,
is that real? Is that fucking real, dude? It is? Jesus, man, what a cock, man. What an absolute cock.
Can get so bad that functional microtransactions become more important than a functional game. I couldn't get into matches in COD World War II when it came out, but you bet your ass I could buy loot boxes. And then Fallout 76. Wow. Easily one of the most embarrassing, blatant, empty cash grabs the industry has ever seen. Do you, as a player, want to have sections of the video game you bought sealed into randomized crates that are paid for with real money? Hell no. There's always a better alternative. Titanfall 2 is the shining example. It might not make the most money, but there's no bullshit involved. What you see is what you get, and the game isn't any worse or better off because of it. Companies have tried seemingly every slimy, underhanded tactic to get you to pay just a bit more. Metal Gear Survive had the audacity to charge people $10 for an extra save slot, in Modern Warfare 2.
Jesus, what?
Oh my god. Oh my god, dude.
Are you shitting me?
This is what's gonna happen to us, man. They're gonna do this shit. I don't even know what the fuck to say about this, man.
You had to grind for those extra custom class slots, but in recent games, you could just buy them. Like, is that where we're at now? Valve and Bluehole opened up avenues to skin betting, selling and trading with other players, which leads to gambling websites and the notorious shitlords like Team Martin and Pro Syndicate trying to make money off this
and Josh OG.
Infamous CSGO lotto scandal. The increasingly aggressive monetization of video games had gotten so out of hand that it attracted the attention of several world governments. I mean, if you look at those leaked patents by Activision, it tells you everything. The intent is right there.
Yeah, they're
adhering
just,
to these patents.
It's just about making money. That's what it's about. It's about fucking making money. They're a company and they're about making money. That's what it's all about. That's what it's always been about. Okay, and I get that, but whenever making money comes at the expense of the product, that's what the issue is.
Want to make you as addicted as possible to spending money. They
Yeah.
want to control you. That's why Bungie decided to throttle how much XP you got. I bet they wouldn't have done that if they weren't trying to sell me bright engrams. The decline in gaming has manifested in so many different ways, and it hurts to talk about. The game industry I knew and loved has just gotten complacent with lazy titles, trend-chasing garbage, half-assed remasters, corporatization, over-monetization, and a lack of drive to create something new. Games as a service and early access become crutches for developers to lean on. And when fans get upset at how dysfunctional and empty their latest release is, or wonder why game-breaking issues continue to exist, they use early access, or we're working on it, as their shield. Don't get me wrong, the good stuff is still out there, but you have to find it amongst all the noise. But with all this shit,
I think that the way that this is ever going to go away is if the consumers are actually if they stop buying games like this. And the issue is that so many people still support products and systems like this that there's no way for it to go away. And I think they won't. Well, I know that, but like, that's what I'm saying is like, because like these companies, they target the dumbos. They're going after the big stupids. These are the people that just want to sit there and fucking, they just want to play their game. And they don't care about anything else besides that. They just want to play their game. And the super, you know, quote, normies or whatever you want to call them, those are the audience that these developers are going after, because those are the people that won't ask questions. Those are the people that won't complain about unfair practices. Those are the people that just play games so casually and without any interest really in like the health of the game, that they just let them languish and die. And the sad thing about it is that they're the ones that are actually enabling these consumer unfriendly practices to keep happening. I'm very frustrated about it, but there it is.
I was waiting for you.
Beta
There are
online
matters that
because
need
we're
your
addicted.
approval.
Well, it's not just that.
You can go check them in the office.
I don't know, man. What is the monetization that you believe? I think that generally if you're playing an online game, paying for a sub is what I would prefer to do, or having like certain microtransactions. If it's a free game, I think it can have microtransactions, but there's no reason that any game should ever have loot boxes. Loot boxes are completely unnecessary to every single type of game. They add no value and they're purely negative.
Well, it's changed for the worse in gaming. It's starting to feel like a soulless assembly line production, and the way companies treat their consumers is making me lose faith in this industry. And that is how gaming has declined.
There it is. I think that's obviously a really good video. I really liked this video a lot. I thought it was very well done. I think everything about it was pretty accurate. I think also these companies are just trying to retread the same ground as they have before because it's easier for them and they make more money that way. I think consumer unfriendly practices are happening too often, and fanboys allow it to happen and enable it. Okay, gentlemen, I have promised this video for an entire week. We are finally here. It is finally time. We are going to finally watch this video. The decline of Blizzard.
And that is why Warcraft 3 Reforged is so terrible. I wish I never played a Blizzard game ever.
That's about right.
It too
Yeah.
pains me to hear what Blizzard has become.
What the fuck?
You shall have your wish granted.
It's Gandalf.
Wait, no! Oh.
What the fuck?
Funny. My mind is completely blank now. I could have sworn I was just upset about something, but strange. I don't really sit with me. I have a tale for you.
What the fuck
boy,
is this, dude?
is it about video games? The fuck you think it is? Of course we're... What do you wish to tell me, old man? Well, long ago, when video games were much simpler, there existed a
olden
company
days.
called Blizzard. Over time, Blizzard released several outstanding games that won not only awards, but the hearts of millions. With every new title, Blizzard managed to outdo themselves. They were like Tom Brady, and for many years, Blizzard commanded great respect from gamers everywhere.
Sure did.
So what happened? The games were great, right? And they kept making them?
They were awesome.
I don't believe you can target a single mistake and say this is where it all went wrong.
What is this?
Although Blizzard was well loved by many gamers.
Yeah, they were.
At some point, something in them began to twist and contort until they were no longer the godlike beings we saw them as. There's got to be more to it than that.
Yep.
Tell me everything. If you insist.
Oh shit. Oh shit. I want to say like one big part of it is like, yeah, Activision or whatever. But one big part of it is the fact that there were always people that complained about and hated Blizzard. It's just that the internet wasn't around. It's like everybody hates every game now. Everybody hates every company now. So there's a point where you need to realize that as well. 2010-ish. Yeah, I think that's about right. You hate every game?
The decline of Blizzard is not a story. That was weird. The decline of Blizzard is not a story about a successful business that is now failing, but rather a business that continuously fails its fans. Blizzard was one of my favorite game developers of all time. My love for this company started when I was like 5 years old. And I've given them more than a decade's worth of support. Blizzard.
Yes, me lord.
Nintendo. Bungie. These were the companies I knew of growing up as a kid.
Exactly
all
fucking
of them
same.
Were gods
Exactly
in my eyes.
same.
Nothing makes me feel old quite like reminiscing on the first time I ever played a real computer game.
Yeah,
you know,
dude.
sitting there with Pajama Sam, Freddy Fish, Math Blaster, Dad bursts in.
I had Math Blaster back in the day. My mom fucking made me get it because I didn't want to learn how to do math. Like, I had all those old fucking games, man. Like, I still have like the old Duke Nukem thing.
Into the room, sits me down and says, son, you're almost 5 years old, but you've got a lot of manning up to do. It's time for a real game. Hands me StarCraft, and it was like, I'm Harry Potter grabbing the wand that was destined for me. I have so many vivid memories of playing the single-player campaign, custom games, loving the story, voice acting.
You called down the thunder. Now
this was really good back in the day. This was
on
high
and on
quality.
and on about how awesome these games are. And hopefully I get to make a video about them someday. The storytelling was out of this world, but what really really
I
blew
love
me
this
away
shit.
were the
The
cinematics.
Yep.
That